Hey guys, good morning. How you guys doing today? It is April 29th, 2020, and we are going to have a Wish Well Wednesday. So with that being said, flip of the hat, remove all the glasses. I wish you guys well. Excellent job yesterday on your work. I'm super excited to get started today. We've got to work on reading, how a character responds to event and challenges. Continue working on those poems, and then look at math and measuring. Today's activity and challenge is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be asking you some questions, so it's going to be a little bit of trivia. Let's get started. Let's surf our way right into learning. Welcome to today's talk show. I hope you're ready for our special guest. Today's talk show is labeled The Panther Prowl because our special guest, our visitor today, comes from Wakanda. You may have watched a movie of his. It is Black Panther. Welcome, Black Panther.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Black Panther, I want to ask you a couple questions, starting with, what's it like to be the king of Wakanda?
Being king is an honor. It's tremendous. I absolutely love it. It sometimes can be difficult because you have to keep every decision in order of how important it is and how that's going to affect your nation and the people behind you. So it's great, but it's also can be very stressful.
What do you feel like is the best thing about Wakanda and what you do?
The best thing about Wakanda would be our technology. I absolutely love the technology, and the advances that we have in technology is tremendous. So Wakanda's technology is exceptional.
And my final question is, do you have any advice for our viewers today?
My advice, guys, is to be patient. Don't just do something just because you want to all the time. Just weigh your options and just most definitely be patient because good things will happen. Thanks for having me. See you guys later.
Thank you, Black Panther, for coming and joining us. I hope that you have a great trip back to Wakanda. But until next time, guys, we're going to panther it on out. See you later. Homework for today. In reading, you've got a couple reading questions found on Google Forms. That will deal with Slippery Siblings and Raymond's Best Summer. You have Raz Kids or Mayan. Listen to it for about 15 minutes and then finish by reading a book for about 20 minutes. In writing, you have a journal entry, Google Docs poem that focuses on feelings and emotions. In math, you're going to have your Google Form application problem, do iReady Math for 15 minutes, and do Zern for about 15 minutes. You're going to end your stuff today with an activity of challenge, which is going to be answering some trivia questions. For reading, our standard is, how does a character respond to an event or a challenge, and then how do they overcome that, or what's their solution to dealing with that problem or event that they have to deal with. So, yesterday we read about Blaze, we read about Slippery Siblings, and you guys answered some questions on Google Forms. I love getting your responses. You guys did a tremendous job. I finished our T-chart based off, our graphic organizer based off of the answers that you gave me. So let's look at this. I know that it might be hard to see, so I'll go over it. I again have our characteristics, strengths, challenge and event that Blaze has to overcome, the response to the problem or solution that he has, and then his name. His name is Blaze. So let's look at some of the characteristics you guys gave me for Blaze. You said he's an 8-year-old boy. He's determined. Clearly he's blind, but he's smart. He's got to be brave because driving a bobsled, it said that you could have a wreck and could get injured. And he likes speed. They said they call him, I believe it was the Hurricane. So he likes to have some speed. Now some strengths of his. He's great at using math. He loves numbers and counting, and he's great at math. He works well with others. Not only does he work well with his sister, but it says during practice time he's able to ride with other people, other friends. He is brave. He's got a great memory. Okay, guys, to be blind and be able to drive a bobsled, you have to have a good sense of memory. He uses counting to help him, but he's also got to have a good memory. And then he's got to have a sense, a good sense of where he's going. So he's got to have good touch or feel. And he also has to hear, because as he practices that first time, his dad has to take him down the course and tells him when he's got to turn left and when he's got to turn right. So he's got to be able to hear and listen, but he's also got to be able to know if he's going too far up, he needs to pull on the rope. So he's got a good sense of feel and where he's at, an idea of where the track is. Now, what is the challenge or event? Blaze's challenge is that he's born blind and he's not able to see. You know, he doesn't let that affect him. He doesn't let that stop him from being able to race bobsleds. Now, because he is blind, how does he respond to that? And how does he more specifically respond to be able to drive a bobsled? Well, his response is, Blaze responds to being blind by using math and counting, plus he has practice to be able to drive his bobsled. Alright? Now, I'm going to read another story that deals with a character responding to an event or a challenge, and I'm going to combine two questions from Slippery Siblings, and then I'm going to put some questions about the new story, which is Raymond's Best Summer, on Google Forms. So those questions are going to be combined on Google Forms. Now, the two questions from Slippery Siblings. Alright? I want you to tell me, how could this story have been different if Blaze would not have been allowed to drive in the Empire Games? And the last question is, how do we know that Blaze was successful at driving a bobsled? How do we know that what he did was a success? Those are your two questions for Slippery Siblings. Now, let me move this out of the way. I just threw that. Don't worry about that. If you heard a big loud noise, it didn't go anywhere. You got Raymond's Best Summer. Now, this is about a young boy who is learning to swim, okay? And I'm going to read half of this today, and we're going to finish up with it tomorrow. But you need to be listening, because I'm going to attach some questions to go with the two questions I asked for Slippery Siblings. So this is Raymond's Best Summer. Raymond and his friends on the red team are taking swimming lessons from a teacher named Lori. Raymond likes swimming, but there's one problem. He can only swim underwater, not on top of the water like everybody else. Now it's the last day of class, and Raymond is worried. What if he doesn't pass the swimming test? Friday morning, Eloise and her mother came over early. Boy, Eloise said as they got into the car, I can't wait to get my certificate, can you? She looked at Raymond, but he didn't say anything. For the rest of the ride, he was so busy worrying. He didn't answer any of Eloise's questions or pay any attention to her talk about the next set of swimming lessons they would be able to take for the last 2 weeks of August. She prattled away about the vacation her family was taking in July, but Raymond wasn't listening. What if he was one of the ones who would have to take the beginning lessons all over again? The rest of the red team would go right on without him, and they would become intermediate swimmers and then swimmers. Why, they would become lifeguards and maybe even racers. And there he'd be, still stuck down on the bottom of the pool, thrashing around side to side, getting nowhere. Glumly, he got into his swim trunks and he sat behind Benjamin with the others, waiting for Red Team's turn to go through its paces. By the time it was Red Team's turn, Raymond was completely downcast. The other team members were enthusiastically showing all the steps they had gone through in the process of learning to swim to earn their certificates. Although Raymond joined in everything, his heart wasn't in it. When the time came to jump in and swim across the pool and back, the final test, Raymond was not surprised when Lori held him back and whispered to him to sit down for a second. He slumped down on the chair, wishing he could suddenly become invisible. This was even worse than he had imagined. He couldn't bear to watch the others jump in and splash their way across the pool. He looked studiously at his feet, carefully watching trickles of water merge into little pools around his toes. He wished he'd never signed up for lessons in the first place. You could probably go all your life without swimming anyway. Lori told the red team members to sit down and put their towels around their shoulders. Red team has something to show you this morning, she said after she had blown her whistle to everyone to be quiet. We have a very special swimmer on our team. Raymond, will you come up now? Raymond couldn't believe his ears, but he got up and stood beside Lori. Raymond has learned to swim in his own way. He may be a porpoise in disguise. He swims underwater so well. She turned to Raymond as everyone, especially the rest of the red team, laughed delightedly. You won't mind giving us a demonstration of your underwater ability, will you, Raymond? Raymond was speechless, but he looked up at Lori and nodded. Now, I'm going to stop right there and finish up tomorrow. But obviously, Raymond has an issue or a challenge that he is about ready to face. Does he necessarily overcome the problem? No. Somebody understands what's going on with Raymond, and then they respond to his issue that he has. But I'm going to ask you a few questions about Raymond's best summer as well. So Google Forms, you got questions, 2 of them that go with slippery siblings, and you're going to have a couple questions on Raymond's best summer. Remember, those are on Google Forms. All right, we were able to talk about Blaze and slippery siblings. We moved on to Raymond and talking about Raymond's story a little bit and Raymond's best summer. So let's talk about what you need to do today and tonight for your homework. As reading, you got the reading questions that I'm going to combine some from Slippery Siblings, 2 there, and then put a few from Raymond's Best Summer. It's going to be in one Google form. It will be, again, found on Google Forms, but those are reading questions. I'm going to give you guys a free choice of whatever you want to listen to. Most of you know how to get on RazKids. Some of you know how to get on Myon. If you've got another story or another way of listening to a story being read to you, then please do that. But I'm going to ask you to just spend a little bit of time of listening to a story that's read online. You can do RazKids, you can do Myon. Spend about 15 minutes or so on that. And then you're going to wrap it up or finish it up with reading 20 minutes. So that'll take care of our reading, and let's move to writing.